The time is 24 minutes to 8. This is Conversations on Energy FM 102.1 and Choice FM 101.1. The word learning is used routinely in discussions about teaching. Educational researchers, though, agree that learning is much deeper than memorization and information recall. On our weekly motivation tonight, I'm joined now in studio by author of motivational books and life coach Ebenezer Mamabolo to talk about how to learn and where to learn. You can join us in this conversation. Our WhatsApp text line is 079-295 1212 079-295 1212. Our SMS line is 47861. That's 47861. Start each SMS with the short code EFM, and each SMS is charged at R1.50. Mr. Mamabolo, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Are you well?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I when teasing this, I said that it's our weekly motivational sessions and not session.
Yes.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Because in as much as tonight, for instance, we're talking about how to learn and where to learn, there's always a nugget of wisdom that comes about, and one could easily take it and apply it to a different realm of life altogether, not necessarily just with learning. And I think that's the beauty of these sessions and something that we truly have to appreciate. Yeah. We're talking about learning. Yesterday on the Energy Drive, they were talking about the discussion that came about after the Department of Education announced that they will be introducing additional methods of learning through broadcasting platforms. And they were asking people to say, what do you think about that? There's quite a number of hours that a learner really has to invest into that particular learning session to be able to really do well when they sit for their exams. And one of the issues that came a lot in the discussion was the issue of saying that, attention span is a challenge now. People quickly want to check who's sent me a text and who said this and who said that. So it's quite challenging to really focus now. And that made me think, when you said that we're going to talk about how to learn and where to learn, to say, is it easy for all of us to actually know and understand what learning requires? Because even in the preamble, I say it's not just about memorizing, for instance, or information recall. It's a lot deeper than that. Do you find that that's the common knowledge that we have about learning?
When I was busy looking at this subject and as I was preparing to teach it, I remembered even in my own life. And what I usually say is that whenever you are learning something, or whenever maybe, because the common place where we are thinking about learning is in academic environments, never ever let your certification interfere with your learning. And most of the time, we tend to do that. We tend to only focus on memorizing. And I like what one author said. He said that the goal of teaching is not to teach the student what to think, but to teach the student how to think. And that's probably the most important missing element in our learning. We tend to be so focused on what we are supposed to be thinking, not how to think. That's why you find that we've got a lot of professionals who are graduating in our institutions. They are taught what to think, but not how to think. Because now when they get into industry, they find that whatever it is that they learned at university, at college, the time has already expired. One research was conducted, and they discovered that by the time you start a degree, by the time you graduate, all of that information that you learned is irrelevant in the marketplace. Now, because you were taught what to think, not how to think. Now, when you are supposed to take those principles of learnings that you should have been taught, to apply them in the industry, to apply them to whatever field that you are in, you find that you don't know how to do that. You don't know how to change or how to integrate the two. Why? Because you were taught what to think, not how to think, and you were so concerned with what you should know instead of how you should know things.
I guess now it makes sense why some people will say, I'm a student of life.
Yes.
Okay. Now, talk to us about ways to learn. We understand now that it's not just about recalling information. It's not just about memorizing, a formula and applying it. 2 years down the line, you don't even remember how a calculator works and all of that. Give us ways then. How does one learn?
We've got two ways of learning. We either learn by pain. Now, when you and I are learning by pain, we will have three areas that we'll be learning. It will either be pain that's self-induced. It will either be pain that's others induced, and it will also be pain that life had induced into your own life. Sometimes you find that you are not learning. People have tried to come to teach you. You find that there were some instances or some lessons that you needed to learn with your own life, but you did not learn those lessons. Now you get to a point where maybe, let's say, for example, you are in a relationship. You were supposed to learn how to love someone or how to live with someone else, but you never got the chance, or you didn't learn the lessons when you were supposed to learn them. Now, because life is coming to you and it's going to give you a painful lesson about how do you live with someone else. Another method of learning is what I call learning by inspiration. Now, when you are learning by inspiration, you are either learning because of internal processes where you are saying that, no, I am where I am, but I'm not satisfied with where I am. I'm not satisfied with how far I have come. I'm not even satisfied with what I know. I want to become better. This is the inspiration that comes from you. And there's also inspiration, you'll be learning by inspiration that comes from other sources. It could be someone who say, no, Rebecca, please read this particular book, or please check this particular podcast, or please check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are sources of learning that you could learn from. So now we don't want to get to a point. We need to have balance. Don't only learn by pain. Get to a point where when you've got opportunity to learn by inspiration, learn by inspiration. And I always say that you don't have enough time and you don't have enough scars that you can have on your body to only learn by your own mistakes. Take the opportunity that others have gone through. Take the lessons that they've gone through, the pain that others have felt. Learn from that their particular pain so that you don't have those scars. Because sometimes, when you are missing the lessons that you are supposed to be learning by yourself that come from internally, and you are missing those lessons. Now, when you are supposed to be learning by pain, it comes with scars. Maybe it comes, for example, if maybe you end up even becoming a parent, and now you can't even support that particular child. Why? Because when someone told you that, no, these are the consequences of you doing 1, 2, 3, 4, you didn't want to learn from their experience, but you wanted to learn from your own experience.
Is it one of those instances wherein we'll have listeners sending messages saying, Mr. Mamabolo, it sounds easier said than done?
I wouldn't say it sounds easier said than done, because it depends. It depends on you, as you are the student of life, or even the student of whatever particular industry that you are in.
But if one says the sort of conditioning they've had is one where you memorize, you proceed, you get a distinction, you even get a certificate of excellence, and you proceed further.
Yes.
2 years down the line, like I said earlier, it's all gone. What if one says, I'm that kind of a student, or I'm that kind of a learner, but I want to do better in life. I'm an adult now, for instance.
Yes.
And it's proving, as you're explaining it, it's proving to sound that it might be quite difficult to implement.
And it's probably maybe what we will discuss deeply in part 2. But for now, I like what one author said. He said that it's after what we know it all that really counts. It's not what I know now, but it's what I know after I know it all. Because sometimes you find that what really interferes with our learning or our lifelong learning, it's because we tend to get to a point, or we get to a stage in our lives where we think we know it all, where we think that you can't tell me anything, or no one can teach me anything. When we get to that point, I like one author said, he said that, no, never get to a point where you've become a master. Because now when you get to a point where you've become a master, you are no longer humble enough to learn. Now, even you, whether you are an adult or whoever you are, don't let what you already know, don't let the experiences of life interfere with what you need to know. There are lessons that you need to learn as an adult. Yes, there are lessons that you might have had learned at work. Maybe there's even some lessons that you learned while you were at school. But now life has got more to teach you. Now, when you open your mind up for learning, when you've got your mind ready to receive whatever knowledge or whatever it is that you need to learn, then now it won't interfere. Like I said, don't ever let who you are and who you've become, maybe because of your past or even your past successes, don't let your past success interfere with who you need to become for you to become greater than you are already.
I'm getting a sense that you could possibly say that everyone is sort of a product of what they consume on a daily.
Yes.
Where they learn from.
Yes.
We've spoken previously about the benefits of reading constantly and all of that. But even in that, you have to be quite selective, right? Without necessarily imposing.
Yes.
If you read a lot of novels, you probably be quite romantic in nature. And if you read a lot of books, like the books that you write, motivational books, you find that often, even when you converse with people, you come across as though you're always giving advice and all of that.
Yes.
So it seems that often it appears that one is a product of what they consume.
Yes. It's what they usually say when they say that, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because the people that, or the resources that you spend most of your time with, they are the ones that influence you. If you spend most of your time reading, say for example, cultural or religious books, what's going to come out of your mouth would be the same things that you are consuming. Whatever it is that's you are using most of your time in, like you are saying, if you are going to spend most of your time in motivational settings where you are learning motivational things, it will always come out as if maybe you are indeed a product of what you are learning and what you are consuming.
And obviously there's nothing wrong with being a romanticist because you're reading a lot of perhaps Western novels.
Yes.
Just as there's nothing wrong with reading whatever you choose to read or whatever you choose to listen to and all of that. How does one strike a balance, though, if you were to share advice on that?
For me, I would say that look at your life and where you want to be. Now, you can't, if you are saying that I am called, or my purpose or my passion is to be a sports player, you cannot be spending maybe 80% of your time maybe reading novels. Because when you are reading novels, those novels you are reading, they've got nothing to do with sports. They are not teaching you the disciplines that you need for sports. They are not teaching you how to heal if maybe you get injuries. But when you are a sports player, whatever area it is that you want to master, or that you are involved in that particular career, make sure that the content that you are consuming, consume more of that. Now, when you are doing that, you will end up becoming an expert. Elle Nightingale discovered that if you just spend 1 hour every day studying whatever area that you want to be an expert in, after 10 years or so, you will become a master in that field. Now, whatever career it is that you want to be in, study or consume most of the content in that. Then have some time to refresh. Have some time to relax. Read whatever. If you want to refresh with comedy, refresh with comedy. If it's novels, drama, whatever it is that you need to do, have some time. Strike the balance. Yes, master whatever field and career that you are in, but also take some time to refresh. When you spend most of your time too serious in your academic or in your career, you tend to get maybe sometimes even depressed. But when you read some comedy or you watch some comedy, then it lifts your spirit. So make sure that you might let's say for a formula, spend 60% of your time in your area of gifting or in your career. Then the rest of the 40%, use that to consume whatever it is that you would like to consume and whatever makes you happy.
I'm reminded of what was once said by one arts writer, Milisutando Bongela. She said that she used to be a woke feminist. You know, woke people, you hear of the woke generation. And she says at one point she lost a lot of friends because she couldn't talk with people about a lot of things.
Yes,
they would say things and she'd be like, no, that's problematic. In fact, you're showing signs of, this and that and all these labels. Half the time, these people didn't even know what the labels meant.
Yes,
so I'm guessing what you're saying is that one needs to have a core, which is that which they will constantly go to uplift themselves, because it aligns with their future plans, but they can have a pastime at which they can do something that does not always align with what they want to do.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
We're talking about how to learn and where to learn with AB Mamabolo. You can join us in this conversation. Our WhatsApp text line is 079 295 1212, 079 295 1212, or you can send us an SMS to 47861. That's 47861. Start each SMS with the short code EFM, and each SMS is charged at R1.50. You can give us a call as we continue with this conversation after the break.
Have your say. Call us now on 015 151 1058.
The time is 7 minutes to 8. This is Conversations on Energy FM 102.1 and Choice FM 101.1. I am in conversation with author of motivational books and life coach Ebenezer AB Mamabolo, and tonight we're discussing how to learn and where to learn. You can join us in this conversation. Our WhatsApp text line is 079 295 1212, 079 295 1212. Our SMS line is 47861. That's 47861. Start each SMS with the short code EFM, and each SMS is charged at R1.50. Also, you can give us a call.
Have your say. Call us now on 015 151 1058.
I spoke earlier about different learning mechanisms, and I even asked you to share advice on that. And the reason why I asked is because in my experience back in high school, and to some extent even in undergraduate and university, we had different kinds of students or learners.
Okay.
So you'd have top learners, those that will always get A's, and then you have moderate learners, those that will get your 50s and 60s. And then you'd have those who would be identified as poor performing learners, those that their marks are not very static or very constant.
Okay.
They basically fluctuate. There's no constant. You don't know really what kind of a learner they are. And all of these people obviously learn in different ways. They grasp in different ways and all of that. We've already established some of the advances that you've given to say there has to be a balance and all of that. But what makes one learn effectively? And would you say that those that are considered as top learners have mastered the art of learning effectively, bearing in mind that in the introduction we said that educational researchers say that learning is much deeper than memorization and information recalling? Yes. Would you say that top learners, for instance, have mastered the art of learning effectively? And that's throughout the spectrum, not just with the classroom, just using it as an example, but throughout the spectrum. Those people who are winning in life, for instance, people who are doing quite well, working well and all of that, have they mastered the art of learning effectively?
I would say that it also depends in this situation, because now I've realized that, and I've found this in my time when I was studying. You find that there will be some top students at varsity, but they only know what they needed to learn for the test. But come out, I remember, because I study mathematics and computer science. Now you find that someone is saying that no, you see them in the test, they've got 90s and 100s. But when it comes for a time for them to apply whatever it is that they got 100 in, they can't do that. When you give them a computer and say, produce for me a software that does what you said that you could do in the test, they couldn't do that. So those types of people, I won't say that they've mastered the art of learning. They just know what to learn. Now, when we are talking about the people who are achieving success in whatever fields they are in their particular lives, I would say that then those ones who have learned whatever it is that they need to learn, how to master whatever craft they have mastered, those ones have mastered learning. And I've got two things that I would like to talk about that helps us to learn effectively. The first thing would be your motivation for learning. You know, when it talks about the motivation of learning, I remember when I was in high school, there were subjects like life science that I was not interested in. So it doesn't matter how powerful the teacher was or how important those subjects were. But when it came to me, I had no interest in them. I had no motivation for me to learn those particular subjects. But one day when my parent was very sick, and the very same things that I was supposed to have learned in grade 9 about neurobiology, about the neurons, how they work in the body, now my motivation, my reason to learn the subject had changed. Now I had motivation for me to learn. Now, the motivation that you are learning, we get it in 4 ways. The first thing would be for you to become a better person. For me, when my father was sick, I wanted to become a better student of neurobiology. I wanted to learn, how does the brain work? How does it function? What makes my father have this particular sickness? That became my motivation. And because of that particular motivation that I had, I learned my subjects effectively. Another area would be a situation that you might want to change. Sometimes it's not the environment that you are in, but the situation that you find yourself in at home. You might find that no, because I come from a poverty-stricken background, I am learning to eradicate poverty. I want to take this poverty out of my life. Now that becomes the motivation for me to learn whatever it is that I need to learn. The third one being a purpose. You are learning for a particular purpose. You might find that you've got a calling and you've got this I would say this attraction. There would be some certain things that attract you. Maybe, say for example, if you are a singer, you find that you are attracted to music. You might not be singing at the moment, but because of that's something that attracts you, that's something that you are called for, it ends up attracting you. And another one would even be the reason that you are learning that particular subject. Sometimes, I remember one time when I was in high school, and in grade 8 we were getting hundreds in mathematics. But when we got to grade 9, we got this teacher who taught us with this negative attitude, telling us how insignificant we are, how stupid we were, and how we wouldn't be able to learn mathematics because it's a complicated subject. And when she told us those things, when she constantly told us those negative beliefs about ourselves and how complex mathematics were, we ended up believing her. We ended up from grade 8 where you were getting hundreds, now you are getting 20, 10s, and we wondered why. But But a transformation came when we met another teacher who was in our grade 12, and he said to us that no, these are simple things. You can learn these things. The very same things that you were learning, because she taught us in grade 8. She said no, the very same things. These are the things that you learn. Now, because of the conversation that she had with us, she ended up interfering with the beliefs or the negative conversation that one of our teachers came up. Now, that purpose, when she gave us a reason to learn mathematics, she told us no, you could become an engineer, you could become doctors, you could become scientists. Now, we had a purpose that when we were learning, we were not just learning for the sake of learning. We wanted to learn because we wanted to become people tomorrow. Now, another area would be even our attitude. While you are learning, your attitude determines if you are going to be learning effectively or if you are not going to learn effectively. Sometimes when you've got that attitude to say that, you know what, I don't care, Rebecca can't teach me anything, or she's a horrible teacher, that attitude that you have towards her and the particular subject that she has would end up being the one that interferes with your learning. But when you've got the right attitude to say, no, I'm learning this. Yes, maybe whatever it is that I'm learning here at high school or here at tertiary might not be applicable when I graduate. But the techniques, the principles that they will give me about learning, the principles that they will give me about problem solving, I will be able to apply them in industry. I will be able to apply them in my work. Now, when you've got that attitude, then you are easily able to learn. Another one would be even the body posture or the physiology. The way you are, the energy that you bring into your learning environment. You find that if you are slumped and you are sitting like you don't care or whatever about whatever it is that you are learning, when you've got that, even your body shows like you are tired. When you've got that posture and your physiology is not right, you don't even have the energy to learn. But when you change your posture, when you even change the energy that you are bringing towards learning, when you bring in the excitement that you have because it's something that's going to change your life or something that will make your life better, when you bring that energy, it even makes even the learning process more effectively.
I think we need to allow ourselves to really take in what you've just said now about what allows one to be able to learn effectively. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like a classic don't judge a book by its cover narrative.
Yes.
You can't say because Rebecca is in a certain way, I can't learn anything from Rebecca or any other person that you might come across in this lifetime. I think we need to allow ourselves to really just take that all in. I'm taking it in.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that with that, we're continuing. This is the first part of how to learn and where to learn. Next time, if we can, because now it's going to give us an opportunity to introspect. And when you introspect, if you find that there's fault, you would want to self-correct.
Yes.
How's it about next week when we start? We particularly start from what would hinder one from learning effectively.
Yes.
We've established what can help you learn effectively.
Yes.
Now it's time to introspect to say, have I been judging books by their covers?
Yes.
Have I been listening and reflecting afterwards, whether you agree or not? It's quite a lot to take in, I think.
Yes.
Is that okay? Can
yes,
we
that's
do that?
okay. That's okay, yes.
Okay. Let's quickly take a few comments here and then we'll wrap up with our quote. Matlatsi Signolo and Lowodi Kujo from Solomon Dane say, Mr. Mamabolo, you're right. I agree with you. Education is the key to success. And we also have John Tladi there recommending that you must read a book titled The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I understand you say you have it as an audiobook. Yes. I'm sure you'll give us a review one of these days as we have this conversation.
Yes, I'll definitely do that.
Share with us the quote of the week.
The quote of the week comes from Alvin Toffler. He says that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read or write, but the illiterate of the 21st century of now would be those who can't learn, unlearn and relearn. And in this time that we are in, one author even says that the superpower, if knowledge is power, then learning is your superpower.
Just say that one more time, the quote. The illiterate of the 21st century
will not be those who cannot read or write, but the illiterate of the 21st century will be those who can't learn, unlearn and relearn.
So you have to learn and not leave it at that. Learn as you continue, because you will be a student of life. Mm-hmm. Then there will have to be an opportunity where you unlearn.
Yes.
And then you relearn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Share your contact details with us.
My contact details on all of the social media, just search for Ebenezer Mamabolo. And if you are on Twitter, King_AB, then you'll be able to follow me. And when you're booking me as a coach and as a speaker, contact me on 071-639-7807.
And because we keep saying that you're an author of motivational books, I understand that you're currently writing your second book?
Yes.
The first one is titled There Are No Secrets to Success. When one gets in touch with you, they can also get the book.
Yes, they can.
All right. Ebenezer Mamabolo, author of motivational books and life coach, thank you so much for talking to me tonight.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, we are having our discussion Wednesdays coming up next.
Conversations, Mondays to Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. with Rebecca Phala.